Hi, everybody, and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Nancy Byrne, and we are coming to you from the Nevada State Veterans Memorial. We're going to take a closer look at this beautiful collection of bronze sculptures a little bit later on. But first, in honor of Veterans Day, the moving wall was brought into our community. It's a half-size replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. It enables people to come out and honor our Vietnam veterans and pay their respects, even if they can't make it all the way to Washington, D.C. It's called the Moving Wall, and not just because it moves around our country as a memorial to those killed in the Vietnam War. It's also moving just to be in its presence. Many here to see the wall were in the Vietnam War.
I served from 1966 to 1968. I got into Vietnam just before the first little Tet Offensive of 1967, went through the major Tet Offensive of 68, and got home August of 1968.
And like Jim Leitner, they are here to honor and remember those who never made it back.
Well, I was fortunate enough to have escorted this wall into town 7 years ago when we had another event at Davis Memorial Gardens, Davis Funeral Home and Memorial Gardens. And that's the first time that I could finally bring myself to go look at the wall. Very emotional. I had been to Washington a couple of times and just couldn't do it until that point. It's a solemn experience to walk that wall and to see names that you knew. It brings back a lot of memories. It's tough.
This gentleman tries to see the wall whenever it's nearby to honor a man who volunteered to relieve him from the point man position in a march just before Thanksgiving.
That week before we started on that march, he received a package from his parents. And the night before we started the march, he called his squad and said, let's open and enjoy this because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
He says moments after this volunteer took over the position, the group was fired upon, and he died.
I always have to think of him because it would have been me.
To see more than 58,000 names etched on this wall moves many to tears. Those who had a hand in bringing it here or manning it while it was here say it's important to give everyone the chance who wishes to honor the fallen men and women, even those who can't travel to Washington, D.C. to do so.
Whether they can't afford to go across and see the memorial in Washington, D.C., this is bringing it right to the heartland, right to home, and making it easier for them to pay tribute and honor those fallen. For them to come here and actually memorialize their loved ones, families, friends, people that they have known. As well, we have rice paper and chalk so they can do scribings of the wall itself so they can take the names back home with them as well.
Dobie Moore is intimately familiar with the challenges faced by many of our veterans when they return home from duty. He runs the Veterans Transition Resource Center in Las Vegas, a one-stop shop for veterans and their families trying to adjust to civilian life.
Acclimate back into civilian life, as well as handling medical claims, health benefits, certain programs for the family and veterans, assisting them to work with city, state, government agencies.
One thing we can all do to help our veterans is to educate ourselves and our children on what our veterans in active military have gone through and may be going through. That's one more thing the wall can help accomplish.
I think it's important, certainly from the standpoint of the mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, but also an educational thing. Our young people today are not being educated. A lot of these young people today do not know about Vietnam and what we went through there. The loss of life overall in Vietnam, civilians, military, the total was 3.5 million people. Wow, what a loss. And we were in that, people think today that we're in the longest war of our history. Actually, Vietnam was 1955 to 1975.
wall was brought out here thanks to the Jimerson Law Firm and the Veterans Transition Resource Center, along with some other volunteer groups. By the way, there are actually 2 walls that travel the country, enabling people to pay their respects without always having to leave their community. Well, we're all pretty much familiar by now with the Veterans Village of Las Vegas. It's a series of complexes that provide temporary or transitional housing for our veterans. In these complexes, there are services such as medical, counseling, food, and job training. Well, now founder Arnold Stock has opened yet one more, this one focusing on the needs of women veterans. A look inside the newest Veterans Village reveals beautifully decorated homes, welcoming and bright. Outside, finishing touches have just been made on the courtyard where residents can gather together or simply sit under some shade and read a book. It's the latest project by founder Arnold Stock, Veterans Village 5 for women and children. It's something he worked on with many community partners, including the women's shelter Shade Tree.
I'm trying to accomplish a couple things at once. One is provide housing for our female veterans, which is a forgotten population. 2 is to provide that next step for women coming out of the shade tree so that they can live and transition into permanent housing.
Before it officially opened on November 9th, people were already moved in. Stock said he had to tweak the concept a little from his original idea of just women and children.
And it started out as women only, but our first families started with, we started getting people with significant others. And I thought, well, wait a second, we need to accommodate that. If there's a male or female couple, they're not going to get separated, so they're there. And it's also a collaboration with the Shade Tree.
When filled to capacity, it will house 60 people in all and will include services available at other Veterans Village housing complexes, such as medical, counseling, and job training. Stock says, like the other villages, he couldn't do this without great community partners like the City of Las Vegas.
We're very grateful to the City of Las Vegas, who's helped us start. They've helped us with funding. I work with the staff all the time. And we're going to build our first container park development within Veterans Village 2 that's been expedited by city reviews and plan checks.
Arnold Stock promised his father many years ago to do whatever he could to make sure no veteran was left homeless in his community. And with this latest project and many others, he's keeping his word. He encourages anyone in need or anyone who knows a person in need to call 702-624-5792.
If the phone is not answered, it means we're helping someone else, but it is a 24/7, 365 line, and we will find help for whoever calls, whether they're veterans or not.
In all, there are 6 Veteran Village complexes. This one is located at 2100 Sunrise Avenue. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take you to a new record store. Actually, it's not new. It's expanded, and it sells a lot more than records. Congratulations to the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Cynthia Clay. Cynthia is a financial analyst and is responsible for tracking unclaimed monies due to the city. The city deals with multiple government agencies at the local, state, and federal levels, and Cynthia watches to ensure that city residents are getting the most bang for their tax dollars. For example, the city had a partnership with a state program that ended several years ago, but through Cynthia's efforts, working with the state, she was able to secure a claim of $170,000 that was still owed to the city. Another example occurred when Cynthia discovered an unpaid grant from the state to the tune of $300,000. It had been mistakenly sent to another agency. Cynthia managed to get it transferred back to the city. In all, Cynthia has collected more than $1.3 million in funds that were owed to the city but had fallen through the cracks. For her attention to detail and getting money owed to the city paid to the city, we thank Cynthia Clay, the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month. Welcome back to City Beat from the Nevada State Veterans Memorial. Well, a unique and local store has just expanded, much to the delight of their very loyal customers. It's called Zia Records. We were there for the ribbon cutting, and then we stepped inside to find out what makes it so unique and why people keep coming back for more. We are inside the newest Zia Records, and I am with Jennifer Neighbors, and she is the manager here of the store. Let's clear up one thing first of all. What do you sell here?
Everything, anything and everything. We do music, movies, toys, games, collectibles, just about anything pop culture nerd related. We're all about it.
Welcome to a store that carries all that is music, movie, and memorabilia. Zia Records was started nearly 40 years ago in Phoenix, Arizona, and when the owners decided to bring all of this to Las Vegas about 13 years ago, it was a hit so big, it just kept growing.
We had one location over on Flamingo and Eastern, and then we opened our second location over on Sahara and Arville, which is kind of what this is. We just outgrew our space. Customers wanted more Zia, and so we were finally able to give it to them with our new location here. And we're looking forward to being in this market for decades to come.
We were here for the official opening ceremony on October 20th of this 10,000 square foot store on 1216 South Rainbow Boulevard. But it's not just because it's new and big that makes it so popular. To find out just what it is about this place that keeps customers coming back, we went straight to, well, the customers. Dana Jasmine and Johnny Rocks are here at least once a week.
We always find stuff that we have to have. I come in looking for vintage t-shirts and stuff like that, and he's a huge music collector, so.
Yeah, I've been collecting music for 40 years, and I find stuff here that I played on back in the day and stuff that, I've been looking for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
I'm in the Sin City Rejects and the Sin City Sinners. We have a new album out. I don't know if it's here yet, but sometimes I see that and stuff like that popping around here. And bands that I grew up on, Kiss, Motley Crue, Aerosmith.
I'm with Derek Romano, another regular here at Zia. Why do you like it here so much?
You can come to Zia and find stuff you can't find in any other store pretty much on the planet.
And you can find unique offerings here, from t-shirts to movies to posters. But the thing that really seems to bring people back is the vinyl. It's not only the music itself that causes a rush of nostalgia, it's the album cover art, the printed lyrics, and the act of flipping through the selection that brings back the good old days of record players and stereos.
There's something about the richness and the warmth of vinyl that you just can't get with a CD or even streaming it on a cloud. The tangibility of the artwork, being able to hold that large picture in your hands and flip through the liner notes, you just don't get that with a streaming service.
CDs are great, they sound awesome, but the vinyl experience is like, growing up, like when I was 12 years old, I get to relive that again,
It's a much richer, warmer sound on the vinyl than you get on, digital stuff, so.
Well, I know there's tons of stuff here you have to have, so we'll let you go. Thanks, guys.
You guys have a great one.
Zia Records is located at 1216 South Rainbow Boulevard. Moving on now to a different type of opening. One of the goals of city leaders when expanding our medical district was to make sure that it was pedestrian friendly, a walkable community. With that in mind, they recently opened up a small park or paseo. Now, it may be small, but it gives people a beautiful place to relax when visiting the medical district. And it may be small, but it's got deep roots in Las Vegas history. Go. With the lifting of this veil, residents and visitors can now see the historic family that once occupied this land, truly since the very first days of our city's existence, the Byrne family. Many of them were present for the dedication ceremony of this quaint park named in their honor.
And I want to welcome everyone to the dedication of the Byrne family Paseo and the official opening of Wellness Way.
Mayor Pro Tem and tireless advocate of the medical district, Lois Tarkanian, took a moment to trace the Byrne family roots, which date all the way back to Robert and Mary Lake in 1904.
The couple purchased some of the first lots from the Union Pacific Railroad in 1905, later building the community's first school, a tent with a wooden floor north of Stewart Avenue between 2nd and Main Street.
Jamie Bearden Clausen explained that this used to be a ranch started by her ancestors.
The land that we stand on was once called Byrne Ranch. In the 1950s, as his family began to grow, my Grandpa Gene adapted to new life by building several homes to improve the lives of his children, turning the ranch into Byrne Drive.
Of course, our Mayor Carolyn Goodman was also present for the ceremony, saying this park, or paseo, may be small, but but it will have an important role in the medical district.
The beautiful Paseo is intended to provide a quiet place of beauty for reflection for thousands of those who work in the community or come to visit the community.
The mayor, along with many of our city leaders, are excited to see that after some 20 years, the medical district is truly taking shape.
Today, after years of focused hard work from the city, a coalition of medical providers, and the completion of a comprehensive medical plan for the area, the Las Vegas Medical District is really taking shape as the true center of medicine in southern Nevada. If you look around you, it includes 6 institutions of higher learning, 4 hospitals, 2 imaging centers, and of course, the Cleveland Clinic Lou Ruvo Institute for Brain Health.
As the medical district continues to evolve and grow with new and exciting medical facilities, it's nice to see a little piece of history being preserved in the heart of it all. And it was moving to see the Byrne family has a little piece of this park to take home with this special proclamation.
Special thanks and gratitude are extended to this pioneering, long-time, and iconic Las Vegas family. The land we dedicate today in an effort to develop and evolve into a world-class medical community was once owned and lovingly cared for by the Byrne family.
The ceremony also marked the official naming of Wellness Avenue, formerly Byrne and Gold Ring Way. Well, let's move on to another park, quite a bit larger and much older. I'm talking about Baker Park. For about 50 years, it's been a great place to play soccer, take your kids to the playground, or just sit in the shade and read a book. But it is showing signs of wear and tear, so a major renovation is underway. Playground equipment is showing signs that many little hands have gripped these railings. Many little ones have slid down the slides and swung to and fro on these swings. The drinking fountain has even seen its better days. The park is old but loved, and so the city of Las Vegas is stepping up to fix it up.
So Baker Park is one of our older parks. It's undergone quite a few renovations over the past 50 years, but we think this one's going to be the best one. We're spending about $7.3 million to include a new water play area, some upgrades to the pool for energy efficiency. We're going to put some beautiful artificial turf on these fields over here so they'll get a lot more play, and we're also going to improve the restrooms while making the whole theme of this park focused on soccer.
At this ceremonial groundbreaking on the new and improved Baker Park, Maggie Plaster of Parks and Rec and Councilman Bob Coffin, who represents this area of the city, touched on how the park will not only look better, it will serve the citizens better in many ways, including with artificial turf that will save water, money, and broaden the use of the park.
But it's going to allow year-round play at a cooler temperature for the kids, so that theoretically the leagues will be able to play earlier in the afternoon in the summer. Now that means a lot when we have such crowded schedules.
While there will be an emphasis on soccer here, the park will offer something for everyone, from new shaded play areas to a splash pad and plenty of new landscaping. U.S. Congresswoman Dina Titus also represents this area of the city, and she says keeping our parks clean and updated is important to the quality of life for our residents.
You know, people like to live in a community where there's a good school and there are recreational activities for their children. So as this park comes up, the whole neighborhood will come up along with it. And that's what makes it so special.
So this ceremonial turning of the dirt is starting a rather lengthy process, but a process that will result in a newer, nicer park and pool by the summer of 2020. Portions of the park are expected to be done by the end of 2019. The pool should be open by the summer of 2020. It's located at 1100 East St. Louis Avenue. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to take you to Gerheim Elementary School, where some 5th graders and a black-tailed jackrabbit were honored. We'll explain when we come back.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
Welcome back to City Beat from the beautiful Nevada State Veterans Memorial. We'll give you a closer look in just a little bit, but first, back in October, a group of fifth graders from Gerheim Elementary School went before the Las Vegas City Council. They wanted to present a proposal that they had been working on for over a year. It was to make the black-tailed jackrabbit the official animal of the city of Las Vegas. Well, it didn't pass, but instead of just letting it end there, it turned into a lesson on government and how it works and how not to let disappointment stand in your way. Councilman Stavros Anthony and some local construction workers decided to show these kids their work did not go unnoticed. It was a rock star greeting for Las Vegas City Councilman Stavros Anthony from the students at Gerheim Elementary School.
Our class embarked on determining the best animal to represent Las Vegas as our city animal.
His road to this assembly on November 5th started at a city council meeting in October, where fifth graders made a presentation to the council to name the black-tailed jackrabbit the official animal of Las Vegas.
They did such a great presentation. I told them I would support them, so we had a city council meeting where they gave their presentation. Unfortunately, the city council did not approve my motion. A lot of disappointed people, so I'm here today to recognize these kids for what they've done.
But some of the city council members were concerned that it would be a decision made without input from all of the city wards, so it didn't pass. But Councilman Anthony turned this into a valuable civics lesson, letting them know things may not always go their way, but that doesn't mean hard work can't still be rewarded. That's what he told them he intended to do on this day.
And what do you make out of lemons? Lemonade. You make lemonade, and that's what we're going to do today.
There were several things planned for this Lemonade Day, starting with certificates for each of the students who participated in the research and presentation of the jackrabbit proposal.
The mayor and the entire city council of the city of Las Vegas thank you for your hard work, research, and participation in the city animal presentation at City Hall. We applaud your efforts and wish you the best in future endeavors. And I think we have the leaders, the future leaders of Las Vegas behind me.
Then there was a proclamation from him, presented to the teacher of the class, Shelley Kress, and the principal of Gerheim, Ryan Lewis.
By virtue of the authority given to me by the laws of the state of Nevada and by the charter of the city of Las Vegas, on November 5th, 2018, as a city councilman of the city of Las Vegas, Stavros Anthony, that's me, I do hereby proclaim the black-tailed jackrabbit as the official city animal for the city of Las Vegas in Ward 4.
And last but not least, a real surprise from these generous construction workers in bright yellow vests. Members of Labor's Local 872 happened to be at that council meeting when the kids made their presentation. They, too, were so impressed they wanted to show the students and the school their support.
So today, we're going to give the school a $5,000 check.
Teacher Shelley Kress says she was blown away by the attention and generosity.
We started working on it about a year ago. We had a representative from Red Rock Canyon come and present to us as fourth graders, and she got on the conversation of what our state animal is and things like that, and kind of a discussion broke out about why we didn't have a city animal. So Gerheim is a school that really focuses on project-based learning, so we really kind of took this on as one of our research projects for the school year.
She said this could have been a big disappointment to the students, but it turned out to be a wonderful experience for the kids and the entire school, thanks to Councilman Anthony, the entire City Council, and Local 872. They learned that even when things don't go exactly how you plan, the journey can still be rewarding.
I think we all learned to be more brave and to stand up for what you believe in, even if you're standing alone.
Thank you so much. This has been an amazing journey and adventure for the students and myself.
In case you're wondering how they settled on the black-tailed jackrabbit, they had a conservationist from Red Rock come speak to their class to talk about the environment and our wildlife. They narrowed it down from a coyote, a scorpion, and a rattlesnake. and decided on the black-tailed jackrabbit. I think they made the right decision. You know, we're at that time of the year when our trees start to lose leaves and you start to hear leaf blowers in your neighborhood. But before you start blowing those leaves out onto the sidewalk or the street, you might want to know about something called Title 13. It tells you where those leaves need to go when they leave your yard. The city of Las Vegas has a fleet of street sweepers and drivers that make a huge difference in the cleanliness of our neighborhoods. Here's an example of before and then after. But at this time of year, they not only have to contend with trash and debris, in many neighborhoods, they also have to contend with leaves. That is why an ordinance is in place that prohibits landscapers and property owners from blowing or raking leaves from their yards out into the sidewalks and streets.
Title 13 specifies specifically that you're not allowed to deposit any kind of debris, leaves, trash, or any other accumulations out onto the sidewalk or into the street.
The ordinance is necessary for two reasons. The leaves would fill up the sweepers too quickly, and two, even though leaves are biodegradable, they can actually do damage to our drainage systems.
They'll clog the drains themselves and not allow stormwater to enter them, like through the drain tops, and also they can get down into the underground where the pipes are and plug those up as well. And again, the issue is then if you don't have stormwater that can go through the system that's designed for it, it's going to run down the street, create damage, and carry more debris further downstream into the wash.
Rick says for the most part, those who violate the ordinance aren't even aware they're doing anything wrong. But if there are repeat violations, the city will take action.
Well, if we find it ourselves or one of our operators, they call it in and we turn it over to code enforcement and they go out and investigate and contact the property owner and they can levy fines.
There's another message he wanted to get out to help our street sweepers better do their jobs. If tree limbs overhang onto the streets and sidewalks, they must be trimmed to at least 13 feet above the curb. This, obviously, is in violation. When limbs hang too low, the drivers have to move around them to avoid damaging their vehicle, leaving trash and debris in their path. Our street sweepers do an excellent job of keeping our city clean. Keeping leaves off our streets and trees properly trimmed are just a couple of ways we can help them move quickly and efficiently through our neighborhoods. So you may be asking, what am I supposed to do with my leaves? Well, you bag them up and leave them out in front of your house to be picked up with the rest of your trash. Well, we have been coming to you from the beautiful Nevada State Veterans Memorial. It's a very moving memorial to all of our veterans from the Revolutionary War all the way through to the current global war on terror. It was created by Dow Blumberg from Northern Kentucky. As we say goodbye, we'd like to share more of this memorial with you.